Well, ladies and gentlemen, we did it. We have come to the finale of Camp Wicked Wild. First and foremost, happy friggin' Halloween. So excited when we realized that this last episode of Camp Wicked Wild for October was coming out on Halloween. So we hope you've had a good time with us. We've really enjoyed putting this special kind of content together for our audience over the last month. And for me, selfishly, it's been fun to have a standing date 2 nights in a row with my favorite people in the whole wide world and some fun guests. So we hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, or if you have any ideas for next year's Camp Wicked Wild, send us a note. We'd love to hear from you. We are ending on the godfather of camp slashers. You know, obviously, if you heard that we were doing Camp Wicked Wild, you would assume that Friday the 13th was going to be in the mix. Of course it is. And we're going to end on it. So why did we pick part 3? Well, it's really simple. It's because we do what we want. So that's pretty much all you need to know about that. But before we get into it too far, I do want to introduce our host this evening. And I'm going to start with John up in Detroit because obviously Halloween is sort of a bittersweet Detroit tradition with the Devil's Night stuff going on. So if I've learned anything from movies over the last 20 years, I just assume that they burn Detroit to the ground every year and then have to rebuild it over the rest of the year. So
I can assure you that doesn't happen as bad as everyone says it does, especially probably like the past decade. But it used to be really, really bad. Basically, if you watch the movie 8 Mile and you see what those idiots do to an abandoned house, that's kind of what would happen en masse for the better part of a night. But the good news is for some reason, this whole thing like gentrification, people like their houses now. So it doesn't happen as much.
They're a little more protective up there.
Yeah, more respectful. It's weird. Money and
people grew up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of strange. And there's not as many empty and vacant homes. So
the Crow would be pleased, it sounds like.
Yes.
So what's been your favorite episode of Camp Wicked Wild, John? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, Prey I just love that movie. So that's great. But I have a feeling this one, because we haven't mentioned his name as he makes his way from the campfire into the main show. I have a feeling this one has an opportunity to go way off the rails. I'm hoping he brought a few special guests that people might have gotten acquainted with.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is definitely the right crew to do our finale for Camp Wicked Wild. This is family night.
Definitely.
So we're excited. So we also have up in New York, we've got Jaime. How's it going, Jaime?
Hi, it's going pretty well.
So we did it. We got through October. Now you can go back to the normal levels of spooky in your life instead of having it cranked to 11. So how did your October turn out? Was it everything you had hoped it'd be?
I think it shaped up pretty nicely. Yeah. Excited to do it again next year.
Yeah.
Now I go into crazy, stupid work holiday season, which is the worst. So
yeah, and we haven't really gotten into it, but that's the thing I realize is that there are several of us that the holiday season is sort of a double-edged sword.
Yep.
That we're not going to get to see each other as much over the next several months. So, but we're going to do our best for sure. So were there any Camp Wicked Wild movies that really surprised you this year?
That surprised me.
Uh-huh.
Well, I guess Prey, because I hadn't seen that one and I was really ready to hate on it just because I'm me.
Yeah, but, the way it started was not Jaime at all.
And that, yes, we've been through that. But also the hype. It's really hard for me when something's so hyped, which I think that movie was. But I think it surprised me that it didn't. I don't even say held up to the hype because I know some people really love that series and whatever. But I was surprised by it that I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. When it got to the killing, it didn't hold back. It did a good job. And then we have in Pittsburgh, we've got Eli, the October beautiful baby birthday boy of October.
That's what everybody tells me every time they see me. The beautiful baby boy.
That's what you are, right?
Yeah.
So what's been your favorite Camp Wicked Wild Campfire Tales? I know you really you pulled out all the stops to go into the obscure for the Campfire Tales. Have you had a favorite?
You know what? I'm going to stand by. This is going to be controversial. I love Donkey Lady. I just love Donkey Lady so much. I'm gonna stand by it. It is the I don't know what it is about Texas, and if there's anybody from Texas who hasn't been offended enough to quit listening yet, you people and your tales, they just
they
just
know how to
tickle
spin
me.
a yarn. Yeah.
Yeah, they just tickle me in the right place.
And the thing I really appreciate and I've enjoyed about those specific super obscure folklore that you've found is telling the story takes about 10 minutes, but
Yeah.
somehow you stretch that into an hour and a half worth of palavra.
Well, we have special guests. I kind of had a theme this month of bridges.
You did.
I did. And so, anytime you're going to talk about a bridge, it's going to be a long tail. Hey-o!
This is like Bridges of Madison County Part 2, right? Just
no, how dare you?
the weird
Don't
cuts.
even, how dare you? Don't even
No?
compare that. Don't compare me to that. I don't even half remember what that movie is, but I know I don't want to be compared to it.
I know you would bathe with Clint Eastwood if you had half a chance. I mean, who wouldn't?
I don't know. If I had my choice between him, Chuck, no, you know what? Sylvester Stallone. That's who I want to bathe with. I'm sure he could teach me a thing or two.
You would loofah Sly real good.
Nah, we probably bathe in swamp water. Yeah, I just assume he's Rambo in real life. So
Oh, there you go. I'm
Yeah.
sure he probably is more than you
Yeah.
expect.
sleeps in a mud puddle, makes the mask of steel. The whole 9 yards.
Sews himself up all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. And then, as we hinted at earlier, we do have our special guest who isn't a guest at all. He's one of the crew. We have our boy from Camp Wicked Wild, from Campfire Tales, Jeff, the yin to Eli's yang, the man who keeps him balanced and has a full-time job trying his best to make the sense out of everything that comes to Campfire Tales. Jeff, what is going on?
Not a lot. I just want to thank you first off, Dave, for one, making me follow Eli and his 80s action hero bathhouse story. Also, you had me sweating a little bit because you said The Godfather and I thought I watched the wrong movie. And I was like, I didn't see Marlon Brando underneath that mask. So,
You got to watch
wasn't
really
sure.
close.
Right. But other than those two fantastic starts, I'm doing pretty good.
So welcome to the main show, Jeff. Hope you're excited. We
Thank
certainly
you.
are.
Yeah.
First, obviously, genuinely, thank you so much for joining the team. I know that Eli reached out to you several months ago about what we were doing on the Campfire Tales and what the Wicked Wild podcast was about, and you jumped right in. And I think from episode 1, just hit it off with everybody on the team. And so thank you for being a cool guy.
Oh, you're very welcome, Dave. Everybody on here is fantastic. So I'm glad to expand my reach a little bit.
Hey, can we snippet that line? We're all fantastic. Because the next time on Campfire Tales, when you say something I'm saying is nonsense, I just want to play that soundbite.
It
You
can
just
still
want
be
that on loop.
nonsense.
That was like the royal all that excludes you. So
I don't think that's how that works.
That's ironic that the royal all excludes the Mole King.
Listen,
Wow.
if there's a guy that knows the rules, it's this guy. Okay,
Chris
and
guy
I know
made,
them rules.
made up the rules. So.
I've never made up a rule in my life.
Did you make up the camp itinerary for this season?
I make up every. No, you see, you tricked me. I don't make up anything. I just know the rules.
Got him.
That was you were gaslighting me there. Okay, I won't stand for it, sir. I won't stand for it.
And gentle listener, if you haven't enjoyed any of our Campfire Tales, that's just a little taste of what Jeff does to bring balance to the force. It's got to keep Eli on his toes a little bit. So before we jump into the official, unofficial review of our movie, which is Friday the 13th Part Trey, or Friday the 13th 3D, or Friday the 13th Part 3D, I found it in like 5 different iterations of the title, is what we are reviewing tonight. But before we do, as we always do, we're going to have an on-the-fly synopsis. And I'm going to ask Jeff, what's his favorite Friday the 13th killer? Is it Mama Voorhees? Is it Sackhead Jason, Hockey Mask Jason, or Space Zombie Jason?
I'd have to say that probably just old Sackhead. It's plain, it's simple. It just gets down to business. There's no shenanigans with it.
The honest Jason of Friday the 13th too.
Mhm.
Well, that's you, Eli.
You know what? I don't like this game.
You knew that one was
because-
you, though.
Oh, I know it was, and I don't like this game of I'm finding out exactly what you think of me by these GD choices. Okay, but you know what? Hey, I like Sackhead Jason. I'll take it. He only needed one eye to see what he was doing.
Exactly.
All right, so Friday the 13th Part 3 is a follow up, and in the movie, it takes place the day after Friday the 13th Part 2, where Jason somehow escapes battle in his mother's head shack, finds a new pair of digs, stumbles across a cabin full of the most nonsensical human beings I've ever seen in my life, where shenanigans ensue.
They sure do.
Can I
This-
just say, in case I got picked, I wrote down what my TV synopsis was because it was quite hilarious, and not that it's going to be laugh out loud funny, but it literally was one sentence, and it said, "Jason terrorizes a group of friends and a biker gang." The end. Because that is the hope.
That was the end of a long day of somebody who was writing synopsis for TV Guide. And honestly, it does cover all the bases.
It covers everything. Yeah.
Really does.
So, Eli, tell me about your experience with Friday the 13th as a franchise as a whole, but specifically about this fantastic, magical treasure of 3D glory from the Friday the 13th franchise.
Yeah, I've watched all of them a lot. I generally like the Friday the 13th series. I guess they're campy and like there's some fun sequels. I'll be honest, 3 is in my top 3 least favorite. I know that is against the fandom because a lot of them, this one's iconic because he wears the hockey mask first time. Everybody loves the final girl in this one for some weird reason. But I don't, because this movie, and once again, I also know they made this movie was supposed to be a lot bloodier and darker, and then they couldn't get it under an R rating, so like a lot of this ended up on cutting room floor, where I'm convinced they just grabbed random pieces and put together to make a movie. Full of a bunch of nonsensical characters that don't really make sense. The first, I don't know, half hour don't make sense. I don't understand why we care about those hillbillies owning a convenience store. That guy's creepy relationship with his rabbit. Don't really like that. But you know, it is what it is. Put on the background, do what you're doing. But it's not my first choice.
But be honest with me, and I thought about this when I was watching it this last time. You and I, of the 5 people in this room, maybe Jeff, I don't know Jeff's background, but you and I are 100% the ones that have dropped a deuce in a plywood bathroom at one point.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. I will say this too. The one thing, except for like really this one, maybe like this one, Manhattan and Space. The one thing it's weird when I watch these, it's just I remember being in those places like that, pooping in your plywood bathroom, just the smell of the wood.
Yeah. The wind shaking the entire building.
No matter the temperature, it smells bad.
I frequent in the Fayette County Fair, so.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
so
well, there you
you're
go.
very familiar.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You're very familiar.
So, Jeff, tell us about your experience. Did you see this a long time ago? Was it first
I
watch
did.
for you?
I saw it when I was younger, probably 10 or 11. And I haven't watched it for quite some time. I did remember parts of it. Initial impressions, or I guess initial remembrance of it wasn't great. I did it. I'm glad, and this might sound a little off kilt, but I'm glad he killed all those people because I hated every single one of them. They were literally they rounded the worst people up, and he was doing a public service at this point. Like those people were the worst of the worst, especially that curly head kid. Oh my god.
Oh,
Sally or
Shelly?
yeah.
Shelby, Shelly,
Shel-
whatever.
Shelly.
It's bad. So yeah, not great in my opinion. I mean, I guess on the scale of slasher movies, it was okay, but compared to I don't know anything else, it wasn't. So,
That's fair. That's fair. What about you, John?
Oh, it's so weird. This one used to be the one I did not look forward to watching, and not especially at this time. It was there's the distinctive charm to this one. It literally feels like a bunch of idiots out in the woods. They had a good franchise, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna film something, and oh yeah, we're gonna slap 3D on it, and we're just gonna have fun." And it's the dumbest 3D. Has hardly anything to do with Jason or the story. It's painfully awful. You see wires through everything. And it's still, I was like, you know what? This is kind of fun. And the best part about it is exactly what Jeff said. Jason does the public service of taking everyone out that we all cannot stand. And we get the iconic mask. So is it my favorite? No. My favorite is Jason Lives, which is not one of everyone's favorites, but I just particularly enjoy that one because it's a little bit off the rails and a little bit crazy. But
I think that's the first time you and I've ever agreed on anything.
No, that's not true. We've had a couple. There's a couple things we agree on. Texas Chainsaw, both of them we agree on that one.
Okay, all right.
So, but yeah, no, Jason Lives is definitely my favorite. But I enjoy this one. This one was fun. I mean, it's easy breezy. You don't have to think too hard. Nothing makes sense. You have a very sexually aggressive country boy.
You sure do.
I mean,
he was. There was a lot of pressure from him.
I mean, and he's
it was making me uncomfortable. And
well,
just thinking about that guy is now in his 60s and probably
yeah.
acting that same way in 2022. It's not going well for him. So,
did anyone else pick up on his Canadian accent kind of breaking through at moments? It was like real painful. But yes, and he does not like cold showers. But no, I like this one. It's fun. It's goofy. It's nowhere near like number 2's classic though.
It is. It is.
It's hard to follow that one up.
Jamie, what do you think?
So, don't remember when I first watched these because I've been watching the series through for years and years and years and years. So sometime when I was younger, when I decided to go through them all up until whatever point. And since then, I love when there's marathons on because I actually do like to sit and watch them all like in a row. Mm-hmm. I think that's the thing about Friday the 13th is I always like if people ask me like, I hate the question, what's your favorite horror movie? And these aren't, but I always like to say like, well, Friday the 13th is one of my favorite series because it goes on forever. First of all, if you're going to say a series and like overall, they're a lot of fun. Jason has always been a favorite for me just because he's simple. He's to the point, between him and Pinhead. And that was until Art came around and dethroned everybody. So, overall, I like the Friday the 13th series. Are any of them great movies? No. The originals, fine, maybe 1 and 2. But, this movie to sit down and watch is a little rough to just to literally focus on. They are fantastic background movies because when you do sit and watch this movie, literally there is zero plot. The plot that I said is the plot to this movie. Yep. And that's a lot of Friday the 13th movies. And it's why people like us, me, whatever, watch them. Mm-hmm. So this one is always in my mind though. And I think it's the 3D. Anytime I think of Friday the 13th, I think of the yo-yo scene. I think of the hay thing. It's just always in my head. As a whole though with the movies, the only way I figure out which one's which is if I sit down and literally plot points and draw a timeline and remember which one happened in which movie. Otherwise they kind of in the middle, they all run together. And that's fine because again, I think of them all as a series, not really as the individual movies. Because yes, if you pull this one out individually, it's not great. My TV, when you turn it on, because I watch this on demand, it always gives you the Rotten Tomatoes score. I'm not saying that's a legit, but I'm saying it literally said 7. And I was like, wow. I didn't expect a Friday the 13th, major early entry to have 7. I was like, I don't know. I thought it was regarded. But again, I don't know what kind of people are on Rotten Tomatoes making these kind of reviews.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't there's not much to really get into loving or hating this movie. It's a Friday the 13th. It falls in the Friday the 13th series. For that purpose, it's good. But it's again, I mean, it's a big, we get his mask in this one. We get, you know what I mean? So it's got some important moments,
it's historically
which is why
significant.
we picked this one. Yeah. So, and the 3D is hilarious. And I'm sure we'll talk about it, but it's so goddamn funny.
Exactly. Because it's obvious that they didn't know what the heck to do with it. So they
it's
the
random things like holding
stuff,
a pole outside when they're putting the clothing on the line. It's just...
I think there's, and we'll get into it, there's a scene where one of the girls bends over to put something in the fireplace and it's they're trying to do a 3D of her rear end.
And I do want to say it does not help in this movie when you're trying to focus on it, which I had to do 2 days in a row because you guys all know I came home from a trip. I was very tired. I decided watching it. Then I was like, I need to do this again because but half these characters look alike.
yeah.
There's 2 girls and 2 guys that look almost identical. And the first time I was watching it, not kind of paying, because I've seen it before, but like first time a million times, but I'm watching, I'm like, wait, which guy is this again?
Yeah, there's the hippie couple and then everybody else.
Yeah,
At
they're
least
the
as
only
far as
ones that look kind of different, I guess. Well, no, Shelly's he's
Yeah, he's on
something
an
of his
island by
own.
himself. Yeah.
I literally, when I was watching this, looked at Mary and said, because she was like trying to figure out who's who. I said, don't worry about it. I said, it's just a movie about a bunch of generic looking people and one fuck.
Yeah.
And she goes, are you talking about Jason? I said, no, that curly headed fuck.
See, I thought this was an autobiography for you when you were in high school.
Oh, oh, you know what?
I was
Wow.
thinking of asking and before because Dave has it, but like who, if you're hanging out with Franklin, Shelly, and what was the dude from the remake of Texas Chainsaw that we all hated?
Oh yeah, the glasses kid.
Whatever that fuck was.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine like having the 3 of them?
I
That's
am
easy.
running at the killer at that point. Just
No,
oh,
you don't have to run. That's the start of your killer career.
there you go.
I'm going to murder at least 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
Jason gets there and everybody's already dead. I'm like, dude, your work here is done. Take the day. So for me, this is a movie that I love, and I'll explain. My experience with this movie is kind of weird because I was too young when these came out. Obviously, this came out in '82, so the first 3 were like before I'd even turned 10. The first one I really experienced was the 4th one, the final chapter, ironically, which has become the one that has a lot of the memes that people think about on Friday the 13th. You've got the Crispin Glover dance and the young Corey Feldman in there. So it was always the one that I watched on repeat. It was the one I always referred to. Still my favorite. But because that was the one I kind of entered on, I went from there forward, and I never really got into the first 3 until much later. I think I was in high school, maybe even college, before I went back and watched the first 3 because I knew the first one had nothing to do with Jason, and Jason was my boy. He was the reason I was watching Friday the 13th. And I knew the second one, he was some weird hillbilly sackhead, so I wasn't really interested in that. But when I went back and watched those 3, I realized that the whole franchise is kind of broken up into these 2 eras. You've got the first 3 movies, which are that indie, low budget, nobody actor talent, New York actors coming off of Broadway and that kind of thing. And then with 3, this one, that's when they moved to California. And then 4, you've got an actual bunch of actors and you've got this polish of LA on it. If you watch 2, 3, and 4, you can see this progression that the franchise is kind of getting into. And I was trying to figure out the best way to explain it. And I realized that Friday the 13th one is like a pilot episode of a new TV series. They haven't really figured out and fleshed out all the characters. They've got a concept for a story. Some of those characters are not going to return if the series gets picked up. So it's sort of loose and goosey like that. It's a pilot episode. And then you got the second one, which is the season 1, and even something like The Office. Season 1 is the weakest of the seasons of The Office, but season 2 of The Office is where it kind of found its voice. All the characters are fleshed out. That you know what all the cast, what their parts are and what they're playing. That's the way I started feeling about part 3. Is that it is when it's not just that Jason gets his mask, it's that it's Jason. It's the true Jason that we see for the next 20 years. You know, he's got his forest green work shirt on, his gray slacks, his army boots. He's a stalker. He's quiet. He's not running around the woods. He's just walking from kill to kill, just slowly knocking kids off. And he doesn't really change much after that. Obviously in the first one, he's not in it at all. In the second one, he's a totally different character than he is in this one and moving forward. So I think it's important for that reason. But then obviously I realized this is the last of that recipe. Everything moving forward from this is either going to become meta or self-aware. Even part 4, it's much more tongue-in-cheek than this one was. This one, they were still trying to make a scary slasher. And it was all about the kills and all of that kind of stuff. It wasn't about plot or any of those kind of things. So anyway, it's important to me. And then obviously, and the crew here can back me up, when I put the schedule together and kind of recommended that because we knew we wanted to do a Friday the 13th for the finale, for Halloween Day. but we didn't know which one. Well, the first one's the one where they're actually camp counselors, and the second one they're actually camp counselors. But neither one of those really has anything to do with the iconic Jason. This one has nothing. There are no camp counselors, but it is our Jason, and it has all of these fun, goofy things that we're going to be able to get into with the 3D and the terrible acting and the biker gang and all of this stuff that we're going to be able to get into. So it was the one that I thought was most fun to get into. If somebody has never jumped into this franchise and we wanted to introduce them, I thought this was a good place for somebody to jump in and not have the shock of going back to the first one and all that kind of stuff. Also, I mean, we're called Camp Wicked Wild for this special event, and obviously we've made it like sleepover camp, obviously, and Friday the 13th gets into that. But to the point Jaime just made, this is also what I think is the original camp movie of Friday the 13th. It is so campy. It is so goofy. And it's not that it's being goofy to be camp. It's camp because it's goofy in a very sincere way. And only a way it could be before the 80s really popped off. I mean, it is a classic campy, goofy, independent, awkward, terrible acting, 3D movie. So it is like the ultimate camp. That's all I have to say about that. What are y'all's thoughts?
I mean, I love that it's in 3D.
Yeah.
If this wasn't in 3D, you hate it. I love it because I'm not watching in 3D. I think it's fucking hilarious. Like,
hold on, did you guys have the red and blue glasses? Because I couldn't find any to watch it. I legitimately looked. Like, I went to like Target and like I'm like, do you guys have any 3D glasses? And they have like the new 3D glasses, and I'm like, no, the old paper ones with the, you know what I mean?
Did you have to cut them out of a Cracker Jack?
Yeah, they came in like a cereal
thing.
Right.
Like certain
I
movie
was looking on to find it, and I'm like, is the regular one the same as the 3D one? I'm like, is it like a director's cut where they added 3D or something? You know,
might as well, because the backstory is they want to do 3D, and then when they got like towards the end of film, they realized, oh, we've only filmed like two actual 3D scenes. So then they had to go back in and add all this like shit of like stick and yo.
Yeah, I love it.
I hate it so much. It looks so stupid. Like
yeah,
it just looks so
That's
stupid.
the point. Yeah.
I hate it.
The point.
I get so annoyed. And every year that looks worse and worse to me. Oh, I hate it so much.
Well, of course. So we're in 2022. This is 1982 or whatever.
Yeah, but like if it would be one thing if it was like, oh, they that's what their aim was for. But like for them to literally be like, well, we forgot we were doing a 3D movie, so we just added some shit. And it's just like that. I get so angry at that yo-yo scene. I was like, if I could,
because it goes on
TV,
forever.
Yes. And then watching that Aldi's brand Cheech from Cheech and Chong with the popcorn blowing in his face, he's like, ah! I'm like, I just want to beat you in the face with that pot.
That dude looked like he was like 45 years old. I'm like, what is it?
Yeah, he was not a teen.
This guy is not a teenager.
None of them were teenagers. They all looked like they were 35.
Yeah.
But yeah, he looked especially too
Yeah,
old
I mean,
to be
at
with
least
that
the other
crowd.
ones could have kind of passed. I guess they were 21, right? Because they were drinking and had beer or whatever. But like, that dude was way older than the rest of them. Like, I'm like, is that somebody's dad? Like,
So was
He's
the
a narc.
boyfriend, too.
Yeah,
Like, the
yeah,
boyfriend was like, he was
the-
like her dad or
Yeah,
something. Like,
Mr.
it's-
Pressure. Yeah, Mr.
Mr. Pressure. Which there, and not that I should even be questioning this, but I mean, what else are we doing but dissecting this movie that doesn't have that many layers? But like the timeline, first she said she hasn't been there in 2 years. Then he says you've gained weight since last summer as a joke, But then he says I don't see you for months at a time. How long has it been since these two have seen each other? And why are they like a relationship but not a relationship? I guess I'm just like, I guess that part, fine, whatever. People hook up and don't hook up, but like the times that were thrown around by when she's left.
None of it made any sense. Yeah, you're right. Like, it literally didn't make any sense.
I'm not sure that everybody in this cast was reading the same script.
She's like 2 years, and then he's like, I haven't seen you in 2 months. Like, what?
Plagued
No,
by rewrites,
I
I'm
don't
sure.
remember. Let me ask. Was she in the other movie or something like that?
No, she.
No, they-
She
so
get
she
a
just-
minor insert of a
'Cause
story.
she
was
did a
attacked by
callback
him. Yeah.
to him, but she blacked out. Like, what does that even mean? Like, I blacked out, and then later, I'm convinced that she's like part of the Jason Bourne program because, like, at the end of the movie, she's running around like flip kicking him, hitting him with a log, but she's probably blacked out at that time. Like, she didn't psycho off. She didn't psycho off her greens or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
I will say, since you just brought it up, and we can like organically get there, but again, when you're just sitting and trying to make notes on a movie that, like, there's no the final scene goes on way too long. Like, the final chase goes on way too long for just two characters. Like, it's one thing if you had other people and he's killing some people here there, but like just her and him goes on. I was just like, oh, now we're here. Oh wait, we still have to go to the barn. That's right.
Yeah, that seems like an editing oopsie. Like they cut the first 2/3 of the movie together and go, oh crap, it's 45 minutes.
We need
that running sequence, that final chase sequence. I felt like I was on Willy Wonka's ride when all the lights in the tunnels were flashing, because I have no concept of space or time at that point. I'm just like, is it our goal to run through every scene or every environment we've been in this whole movie?
It was like Yakety. It was like Benny Hill, Yakety Sax should have been playing like were they moving real fast? Like,
I was waiting for them to run through the people in the beginning's house, run through the store.
Why did they do that? Like, it just made him look like a bumbling idiot at the end. Like he goes up in the hayloft, right? The hayloft's like 12 by 12, and there's hay bales on one side. The only place she could possibly be hiding is behind the hay bale. And he's like looking around like, oh, I hope I don't get hit with a shovel. Like,
See, you say that, Jeff, but it was funny because I also said the number of spots these idiots looked at, there would be no possible way someone could be. Like when that one biker guy's looking for his friend and he opens the door, and instead of looking anywhere else in the stall, he flips up that hay bale laying on the ground. I was like, are you under there? And I'm like,
like they were going to start looking under like little tiny rocks and like all this stuff.
What do you think? A leprechaun killed her? Yeah. Like, what are you talking about?
That dude died quick when he got stabbed in the stomach with a pitchfork too.
Yeah, he did.
Like quick.
But the other biker guy just apparently laid in the barn all
and then
day.
got his hand cut off or whatever. Like, why? I couldn't understand. Nobody screamed in this movie. Not one time. Nobody screamed about anything.
Except for like the random screams from stupid Shelly or whatever.
Exactly. When he faked his death, that was the only blood curdling scream was a fake out.
Because like I'm going to preface this. I'm not a doctor, but like if you get stabbed in the stomach, that's like a slow death. You're not going to die instantly from pitchfork to the stomach. You're going to be like,
gets a complaint.
Oh, my stomach. Oh God, somebody's killing me in the barn on my stomach. You know what I mean? Like, what do you say? Anything?
You know what's crazy too is you say that, Jeff, when those biker people were in that bar and they're hollering, hooping, the one swinging on the rope outside, no one in the house 10 feet away noticed
anything. And then like that girl just disappears. That guy like looks away for 2 seconds and didn't see where she went. Like, and he never lit his cigarette either. He just always had an unlit cigarette walking around with it.
Yeah, that seemed very 80s. Like it was talking with the cigarette in your mouth. That seemed like a very 80s thing to do.
Yeah, there was a lot of portions of this movie that were quite a lot. Yeah. You know the other thing now. So I'm trying not to hurt my back picking up the name I drop here. On my other podcast, the Lore Masters of the Absurd, we just watched Halloween, right? Mm-hmm. There's a couple literal identical things, like the clothesline scene. So in Halloween, looking out the window, he's in the clothesline. In this, Jason's hanging out in the clothesline, right? Whenever she's in the car with the van, she's like, the keys, which is the exact same thing Jamie Lee Curtis said when she was trying to get into the house when Michael Myers was chasing her around.
So what are you trying to say, Jeff?
I'm saying that there might be a formula that we're not aware of.
I think there might be some straight up riff off.
Right. But I was like, wait a minute, like I just saw this,
I don't think Friday the 13th has ever been accused of going for originality.
Yeah.
They go for the fun kills and the horny teenagers. That's their formula.
You know what though? I will say this. Going a little bit further in the series, they come out with some bangers. Like I'm gonna share for this too, but like one of my favorite ones is 7. With that psychic girl when he fights that psychic girl. I love it because at one point, like she's collapsing the house on him, whipping him with a power line. I'm like, I dig it. I dig it.
Yeah, if you're gonna go for it, just go for it. Like
Right.
at that point, because he's come back so many times and he's the devil or whatever. You know, it's
Yeah.
like
This
No,
one
just-
felt like an episode of, remember that cartoon Wacky Racers?
no.
It was that cartoon where they'd have a bunch of cartoon characters race each other.
Yep.
Because when she runs into the van, she's like, "No gas!" And she's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
wait a minute!"
yeah,
it had that reserve
Yeah,
switch.
why did she have to telegraph literally everything? I'm driving the van. Like, you know, it's like, what are you doing? Like,
She came straight from improv class.
I guess, right?
Because the acting wasn't very good.
And it,
No.
it blows my mind because like if you read stuff about the fandom and things like or like watch documentaries, she's like one of the top rated final girls in the whole Frying
Really?
series. And I'm like, how?
Because she
how does
has
official
backstory.
ratings-
Yeah,
How did
because,
that-
I mean,
How did that lady not see him under the hammock? He was it's like it wasn't like he was under the bed. He was under a hammock.
also,
Like,
why
like-
did she have a hammock bed? I'm still blown away by that. Just
Yeah,
even
that's weird,
Random
man. Like,
part of the movie.
That seemed
And
like
not
a
only
decision
that-
a production person made because they thought it was sexy. I can assure you.
I
that
guess it is
hammocks
not.
are
It
not
is not-
sexy.
No, there's
They're
nothing.
not.
They're hard to lay in.
They're
hard to
worse
get
than
out of.
water beds.
They're real hard to have
Very
sex in.
unsexy.
Like it is not like because it wasn't like it was a sex swing. It was a hammock. Like, you know what I mean? Like
A macrame
only
hammock.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not only that, but she gave it to the other unnecessary plot of the movie, to the pregnant woman,
Exactly.
who you would think
Right,
kind of.
right.
I mean, okay, she wasn't showing. She was very, very obviously early. I wouldn't even think she would know she's pregnant by what she looked like. But like, they gave it like, I'm pregnant, so let's go. You lay in the hammock. Get in the hammock.
But you know what? I don't think it mattered to her. Nobody in that house, she's pregnant, because she says that once, right? Proceeded by everybody in the front seat smoking all this weed around her. And then after she gets out of the shower, she's like, "Grab me a beer." Like
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Well,
was
it
it
was the
like one of
early
those
80s.
things? Do you think it was one of those things where she was supposed to like surprise her boyfriend that she was pregnant? And
he
nobody
was sitting
told
right
him?
next to her.
No,
What I'm
they-
saying, and like he just didn't act surprised, so everybody's like, "F it, we're just gonna go with it." Like, you know what I mean?
I guess this
Like-
is
like
my
you should-
problem now.
Right? Like she should be like, "And I'm pregnant," wink, and he'd be like, "Oh, what?" Like, no, he's like,
Pass me that joint.
"What's my line?" Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It was such in a nonsense movies. Again, I hate picking, but like it was such a weird plot point because it didn't serve any purpose at all. Like
And totally
sometimes-
disappeared.
Yeah, sometimes in a movie that serves either for emotional, or even like, or if you want to be completely gross out, in some movies that has gone completely disgusting or like whatever. But like it's mentioned and it changes nothing on the fact of just friends hanging out drinking and smoking.
Right, yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's no like nothing.
It makes as much sense as him walking around the house on his hands.
oh yeah, yeah.
Just for that kill.
Old handstand Andy, you know what I mean? Like, you know what's funny is that, like the whole last scene where she killed him was irrelevant because apparently Jason's illiterate and his arch nemesis is books when she dumps all his books off the top shelf. I thought she was going to hit him with the bookcase because it was like a big wooden. No, just all the books fell on him. He's like, ah!
Well, I think like that whole scene where she like does those three hurts him, and like she stabs him in the hand, and they hold his hand, stabs him
Yeah.
in the knee, hits him with that bookcase, hits him with the log. But then that scene where she like finally like we go through the 9 other sceneries and she's like running down by that little creek to get to the barn or whatever. Did you see like the Gollum style run? He
Oh,
was
yeah.
like doing
Yeah,
after
yeah.
her.
That's real.
Yeah. It's like the guy who was playing him never saw anybody with a hurt leg before.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah,
he's
he
like, well,
didn't
how
know.
do you run if your leg hurts? They're like, well, you're gonna hobble a little bit. He's like, what does the word hobble mean? He's just
What's
like, I'm
hobble?
gonna
Yeah, what's
run
hobbling?
like
I don't-
this.
yeah, why was he waving his arms? Like, I guess he's supposed to be like a mutant guy or something like that. And then his mom pops out of the water, like, "Hey!" and grabs him. If I was that little girl in the very beginning of the movie, I'd have like had her mom's head talk. Like, I'd have used the mouth, like,
Oh
"Hey,
my god.
Jason, how you doing today?" Like, you know what I mean? Like,
That's a great point to bring up because why do we need to see the end of number 2 at the
I
beginning
don't
of
know.
3?
I'm
They
just
did
trying
that
to
in
figure
1
that
to
out.
2 as well.
Mhm.
It
See,
is
that was
the
my thing,
dumbest thing.
because you said about starting with this movie, but I haven't seen the old ones in a very long time, and like I was a little confused because I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
what's
confusing.
going on? Like, who is this? There's a head there or something? Like, I'm like, you know, and then I was like, oh, is it his mom? You know, because I remembered, I'm like, well, he was all about his mom or whatever. But yeah, if you didn't know anything about it, you just watch this, you're like, what the f was that head doing there? Like, and who's this little girl? And then like I thought I was thinking, was that little girl this other girl in the scene? Like, are they going to jump forward? And no, it was like one day later, and I'm like, none of this makes any sense. Like, you know what I mean?
Do you think so? 3 was it was supposed to be a trilogy at one point. So do you think they just thought it'd be cute? Like, because since 2 ends after, like, right? Doesn't 2 show the beginning of? Yeah, 2 shows. Yeah. Sorry, beginning of 2. I can't even get this out. Beginning of 2 shows the end of 1. So do you think they thought it was just cute for the beginning of 3 to show the end of 2? Like, I can't like.
I think they thought it was like a trend because they ended up doing that a couple more times. Well, I think it's the Tommy saga, like that whole Tommy saga. They do that a couple times.
I know that they talked about that. The reason why they did it was for make everybody understand, oh, the number 2 ended this way, so they didn't feel lost. But I'm thinking, why would you be that lost for this? There's no story plot that transfers. There's no reason for it to carry forward.
I think the 3 only people who care about the storyline wrote the
correct
for this one.
The only thing it explained to me is that, oh, I remember he got hit with his overalls got busted. Now he needs a new pair of sweet digs. And he goes for them high grade pants and that tight green shirt.
And I watched, there was a really good, really long documentary, right? On all the
Camp Crystal Lakes.
Crystal Lake Memoirs.
Or Crystal Lake Memories.
Yeah, it is really good. And
it
it goes through beat by beat and everything. And I'm sure anything I'm questioning was answered. And I watched it, but you know.
It's only 5 hours long.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I watched it, I think, like during work back in the day. So.
Oh, it's so good though. It's super good. And they basically talk about how they just ripped off the whole concept from everybody else. They're like, we need to do that because that we want to make money.
It never said where he got his pants and shirt at, right?
Well, the pants was hanging up on the clothesline.
Was that where he got it from?
Yeah, and I'm assuming he just stole a shirt too from somewhere on the clothesline.
He stole the guy, the market guy.
That lady in curlers, man, she was a little intense.
What about her creepo husband who owns a store but samples everything?
Once again,
drinking from the orange juice.
Yeah, and just puts it back. Everybody in this movie needed to go. Like they all needed to go. Like, you know?
Eli, are you telling me you've never gone into an old country store and had to make sure that the potato chip bag was closed before you bought it?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I've done that. Or like, I always like they would have the one store we used to go to. The guy always had like a big box of peanuts. You could fill a bag, but most of the old guys would be like the coffee crew. They'd be like chewing peanuts and like throwing the shells back in the box. And then if you want a bag of peanuts, you had to dig through the fucking shells. You're like, can you throw that anywhere else? And like then they're eating peanuts. They got snuff spit down one side of their cheek, not washing their hands.
Disgusting.
Or like people that sample the big candy thing, like the bulk candy or whatever. I'm just gonna sample this. Like that's not a real thing. So was that their store? Was it like connected to their house or something?
I think so. Yeah, they lived.
That's how country stores work.
Like right next to. And that cute rabbit that was allowed to just roam free.
Yeah.
The one we always went to, the store looked kind of like a log cabin. And then they just shittedly build a house on top of it that didn't match. They're like, oh, we want real siding on it. So you had like log cabin, vinyl siding, and they all lived upstairs.
We had one right next to our house, ran by the Dutton General Store. And when I was young, I would go pick fresh vegetables out of our garden and trade them in for candy bars down at the country store. The wife, Mrs. Dutton, she would let me get a candy bar for a bushel of cucumbers or whatever, till my mom found out that I was cleaning out her garden to get candy bars.
See, the guy over there used to pay the kids the penny candy if you smash the pop can so he could take them to the scrapyard.
Oh, yeah.
Recycling.
Yeah. Well, he saw, that's what he called it, but it was scrapyard. Right, yeah. And so, like, you would just all see us in the middle of the store, which is also weird. Like, he didn't say go outside. People are trying to shop, and you have a bunch of kids in the stores going, It's like stomping all these pop cans, get a bag of penny candy.
That used to be fun in the summertime because all the bees would be around the bags of cans. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's 100 bees around this garbage bag. I'm like, well, that must be the recycling can where all the smashed pop cans are. Like,
So we were talking about in part 3 their iteration of the first 2 movies, or their referencing of the first 2. What did you all think of the quadruple ending twist turducken?
Oh my god!
I
much,
laugh
too much.
every time.
Too much. Why'd that lady just get in the canoe too? She's like,
Exactly.
I'm
What?
just getting this canoe. Like, I just killed this guy, and I'm just gonna lay in this canoe.
Gonna go isolate myself on this
Doesn't make any-
drainage
like-
pond.
Right, like it's literally like you could have just walked over to the canoe. It wasn't like it was on the Colorado River or something like that. Like,
That was a callback to the first one. So she
Yeah.
has that dream she's in the canoe.
oh, thanks,
yes,
Professor.
yes,
Thanks.
yes. We
You're
get,
welcome,
we
you're
understand, but
welcome.
it's
Logic.
like, why did this character do
Oh,
it?
I'm Buzz Killington. I'd like to introduce you to.
I had a friend that used to always argue that, well, they do that because if
Riding
she's in the
canoes.
canoe, then he can't get her because she's surrounded by water. And I said, that's not, doesn't look like a deep lake. Like they were like, you could
Didn't
see
he
the
come
bottom
from the
of it.
lake?
Also,
Yeah,
Doesn't
that
make any
too.
sense.
does she
Is
even
he like-
know that though? Like, does her
No.
character know his history at all? Like,
Wait
I
a
mean,
minute. Is
She's the one who has a
Jason
background.
one
with
of
it,
those aliens from Signs? Is that what's going on here?
Oh!
Like,
Well, no, he
Pretty
comes out of the
much.
lake. He likes
is
water.
this the prequel to Signs? Is that what it-
No, but he drowned, so he doesn't like the water.
but
I
he always
mean,
walks out of the water.
True, he does always walk out of the water. Yeah, but in Freddy versus Jason,
Yeah.
don't they use water as a fear for Jason? Isn't that the whole big like
it's
how they gonna get him?
weird
Drowned.
running water because in the beginning of the movie walks out of the lake. At the end of the movie walks into the lake.
No,
He's
he
a
doesn't walk
vampire.
into the lake. Freddy, he walks in. Wait,
Or he walks,
walks
into
out
the
of the
lake
lake at
in
the
the
end of Freddy.
beginning
Listen,
and
I
walks
love
out at
Freddy
the
versus
end. I
Jason.
had it
It's another
reversed. But
terrible movie, but I love that movie.
like his house was like half sunk in the lake, and like that's where he was like throwing shit into.
I'm just saying, in Freddy versus Jason, which I'm using now as canon here, they like the whole point is right to get fears, right? Like, as John's nodding with me, right? Isn't that the plot?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they figure out they
Yeah.
can get Freddy because like Freddy's feeding off fear, so whatever.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah. And
Jason's
Freddy's-
fear is
yeah.
water, so they're
Correct.
gonna use.
Right.
Yeah, and he's terrorizing Jason with his fears. That's
Yeah.
like Jason has a teddy bear, I think, at one point.
Which really doesn't make sense because throughout the whole series he's walking in and out of lakes. Hell,
Right.
for 3 or
Walks out
4
of
of
it
the
at the end.
movies,
I mean-
the beginning and the end, he's just chained in a lake. So like, I don't see why he's afraid of water all of a sudden.
Because he keeps ending up there.
Except for this
He's
one.
like, I keep trying to get out, and they keep.
It's
putting
a
me back
bummer.
in.
Yeah, I think this one he's like, I don't want no part of that lake.
Yeah, the lake is the corporate job that he can't escape. He's been trying to find a new gig.
Oh man.
So we've talked around it. What is, because we haven't really talked about it, and I am curious, what is each of yours favorite in the franchise? Because I'm going to judge you on your answer, obviously.
I wouldn't
See-
have it any other way.
I don't know. Like, I knew that question was coming, and it's hard because I feel like I just treat it as a franchise. It's like
It
so
is, yeah.
hard because I don't sit and just watch one really. I mean, anymore. Like, I just like when they're on, they will always be on like my TV, and then they tend to, especially around this time of year, they all run in like a row.
Mm-hmm.
I do like 4. I don't like 5. I love Freddy versus Jason. I even like the remake. I mean, I have but like not to say that's my favorite. It had to be 2 or 4, you know.
Mm-hmm.
See, I go back forth between 6 and 7.
Okay.
6.
like-
One is them as
You
a
go
psychic.
deeper in the
What
catalog,
is
yeah.
7's a psychic and 6 is when the
Manhattan?
final battle with Tommy. No, that's 8. No one likes 8. No one likes Manhattan.
No one likes Manhattan.
If you like Manhattan,
is
you're a
fucking
fool.
terrible.
Oh, Manhattan. So
All right,
much
Jeff, I
fun.
guess you've got to change your answer.
No.
Yeah, I was going to say 8. I don't think I've ever saw 8, so it just
Yeah.
seemed like I'm like Jason's going to the big city.
No,
Like,
he
I'm like,
doesn't.
I don't wanna
Don't
do-
worry. He doesn't go to the
Oh,
big
okay.
city until
Well,
the last 5 minutes of the
yeah.
movie.
Hey, spoiler alert! Jeez,
And then they kill him with a sewage pipe. Like they put glowing sewage on him.
and he comes out the
I'm
Toxic Avengers.
actually not even sure he was ever in Manhattan, judging by the
No.
filming of the movie. I think
Why,
there's one
why was
Times
it
Square
called?
scene.
Why
and
was it
that's
called Jason Goes to Manhattan?
It should have been called
No, I mean
Jason
where they
stuck on a
filmed it.
cruise boat.
They filmed
because-
it in Canada.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's one Times Square scene though that they must have went
Yeah.
to Times Square, shot a shot, and left because
Apparently-
everything else is not.
Apparently, Jason was following the Muppets. That's how he ended up in Manhattan.
Well, you spend what 3 hours of that movie on a cruise boat because you find out
Yes,
Crystal Lake is
terrible.
actually connected to the ocean.
Yeah.
With the creepy old guy who's sleeping with his student. Isn't that
Yes.
the one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
What's not to
random
love?
Def Leppard wannabe who they allow into the bowels of the cruise ship to play her guitar and do her metal licks. Like,
Dude, sick. I'm in. I love that movie.
So, Jeff, what's your favorite?
I think the psychic one, and just because of the ridiculousness of the movie, they finally owned up to it. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, you know what? We're just throwing a psychic guy in here. We don't even know anymore. Like, I feel like
that is the shark jumping.
Yeah.
I feel like 6 and 7 I've seen the least. The more we talk about them, like because I've seen 4 a ton, and even 5, even though I don't like it because that's the one where he's a little older and he's living in the home with the other kids for
That's
like
6.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's 5.
That's 5. It's
4
right
is when he's
after-
a
Oh,
kid.
yeah, that's right.
6
5
is
4 is
Jason Lives.
Corey Feldman,
Sorry.
and 5 is Corey Feldman, but as an adult, like as a
Yeah.
teenage, whatever you want to call him. That so even that one I've seen where it's not Jason. That one.
Well, I thought you meant Jason in like an old folks home
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, 5
Like he's
is
living in
Lives,
the
right?
home. Like
6.
my
6 is
grandkids
Lives.
don't come visit me anymore.
So 6 and
5 is
7,
New
I think.
Beginning then.
Yeah, 5 is the one where you find out it wasn't
Yeah.
really Jason. Just
That's what I
some-
said. The non-Jason
cloud.
Jason.
Yeah.
The non-Jason Jason.
5 is the slockiest of the
Yeah.
franchise, I think.
Yeah,
So
super
6
bad.
and
No,
7, I think is like the least. The ones I've seen.
7
the
is
least.
off the rails. 6 is just so good because it's so obnoxious. Because Tommy Jarvis just has to go to the grave, dig him up, and make
Mhm.
sure he's dead. And you know what? Who
That's how it
can rest-
starts. Is that how it starts?
That's how it starts.
Okay,
He goes to the
that's- yeah.
graveyard, digs,
and
him,
digs
up,
him up.
and then the lightning strikes, and then boom,
That's
Jason's
right.
back.
Yeah.
He
So
somehow
he's-
finds the oldest, like a 300-year-old weather vane, just like laying off to the side of the grave there.
Oh, it's great. It's so good.
So is that your favorite, John?
Yes, 6 is my favorite. 7 is also a favorite of mine. Because that's the one with the weed whacker, right, Eli? Where
Yeah.
it's like a
Mhm.
blade weed whacker. That one has like a very traumatizing effect. I was like 8 or I think it was not, like 8 or 9 years old. New school, new city. I get invited to this sleepover of a kid that nobody likes. But the mom invites all the kids in the class for a sleepover to hopefully make this kid some friends. So what does he do? He gets his mom to rent the new Friday the 13th to him. He's never seen it. And we watch this thing. I've never seen like a real horror movie ever in my life.
Wow.
So the first experience I have with Jason is watching somebody get weed whacker to death, and I am just like shocked out of my mind and so scared.
Was this story about you, John? Your mom invited all the kids over.
Oh no, it really wasn't. Believe it or not, I was the new kid, and I got made fun of plenty. But no, I was not that kid.
You know what I would have done if I were you?
John was the Shelley of the group at that time.
Oh, God.
I went to my mom and to say, to quote the great American intellect, Randy Jackson, that'd be a no for me, dog. And I would not have gone to that party.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't really, because my mom was also, you need to make friends. This will be a good opportunity. And it's like, sure.
This is not going to end well.
Are you still
No.
friends with that guy?
No,
No.
not at all.
What's his
No.
name,
What,
John?
guess what, guy?
gonna
Guess what,
dox
guys?
him on
Mom,
this
it didn't
podcast.
work.
He still don't got friends.
Shout out
No.
John's childhood friend who don't have any friends now.
I'm gonna laugh if he listens and he sends a message. He goes, I am that one who you have denied friendship to for all these years.
John will start getting awkward emails
I'll
and
have to get
letters.
my hockey mask out.
Slide into your DMs.
You get a box with an empty rental cassette tape.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th,
man.
Part 6. He goes, for when we meet again.
Broken
But
bottle of
John,
Ritalin in there too.
We shared that tin of popcorn when we were watching that movie. I thought we were best friends.
No.
You left this pair of socks at the house.
I
He
kept them.
He just has a shrine to John in his house. I'm in his room.
Oh my
like,
god! I don't. Think
I like
I'm
this
that lucky.
movie.
John, you're going to have to start checking all your clothes tonight before you go to sleep. You might be laying there
Nah,
here.
I'm good.
It's time for sleepover part 2.
He's waited all this time.
It's the total
Fine.
Billy Madison moment. I'll have to
Finally,
call,
you've
apologize.
reemerged, John.
Yeah.
It'll save my life. Pick. I'm so glad I called that guy.
Finally, you've acknowledged your love for the
You've
movie. And I
acknowledged
knew we
it.
shared together.
I knew we shared this movie.
I knew he loved it.
I knew you remembered.
I used to look out my window while I was watching it, stare at the moon, and wonder if you were watching it in the same moon too.
Come into my shed and check out my collection of weed whackers.
Oh,
I call this
movie
one
prop.
Big John.
oh man, I only hope this is true just so I can bring this one back to the show.
Oh,
Oh my god.
M. Night Shyamalan, I'm that kid.
Boom.
Oh,
Would that be a twist? That'd be like
That'd be amazing.
they could make a movie out of that because like I somehow knew this about you, found the guy that was the kid.
You didn't know. Like I've orchestrated this whole thing.
You tricked me?
I
to
tricked
get
everybody.
on the podcast.
Yeah, just I painstakingly formulated this.
Holy
Get
shit.
on the podcast because me and John shared a movie when we were 8 years old.
That because you and I knew each other for like 6 years. So I mean
Yeah.
that is that's a long
He's
game
the
right there.
worst.
I
it's a
played the
long
long
game.
game. I played the long game. So.
John was worth it, right, Jeff? John was worth
I
it.
did, yeah, John. Yeah, well, I mean, look at him.
Back together.
I feel like I'm Jason. I want to reach out to him and grab him there. And just,
But
Wait,
you
not
can't
like in
run.
this movie, right?
no, like in
3D.
his background image in 3D.
Oh,
Like,
okay,
Now, have any of you guys seen it in 3D? Actually,
No, how can I watch it?
I don't
dude?
know if any of the original 3D films
You-
are they available.
you can watch this in 3D. The most latest release, they actually released the 3D on Blu-ray.
Cool.
You can watch it on 3D televisions, and I brought it over to my friend's house. He's got a projector, and he's got a 3D projector with real glasses. And if you can watch it, it is the most extreme 3D because now you're using like higher technology where you guys can see stuff, and they've remastered it, so it's like it comes way out of the screen.
Like the credits. I love that it starts right away
way
with
out
the
into the
credits,
room.
like right in your.
I have to
face.
imagine the whole movie's like this, just like
Yes, that is correct, Dave.
Yo, can we talk about that credit music? Like,
That's a banger,
whoa,
dude.
he was
I
getting-
love it.
Yeah, wow, he was getting it.
yeah.
Dude,
Hell, you
dude,
was.
Disco Friday 13th is the best
That
Friday
was
13th song.
fantastic.
Yeah, the credits start out strong, and I love it. Like, because you know exactly. Like, I mean, it just goes. The whole beginning just goes from one to because it goes right from that to the
Right.
pole at the clothing line, and then
It goes from
right
that
to
weird,
something else.
that weird head in a shed to that like, like music. I'm like, what is happening? Like, you had me at the 1st
I'm
drum
pretty
beat,
sure
and
one of the original games they did because they made a couple games on this. I'm pretty sure one of them.
then
this was
the,
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 only
the
song.
Nintendo one or whatever.
Yeah, I think
like,
it was the
yeah.
only
They just
song
kept
that played
playing over
through
and
it.
over again. Yeah.
just on
Not
loop.
like the original game. I think it's like the second or third one.
Oh,
they did.
not
They-
the one where you just make turns in the house.
No,
It's just
no,
like
no.
a left and then a right.
No, it was like the
and then a
side
left.
scroller one.
Yeah,
like, where
yeah.
You played as Jason or something like that, and you, yeah.
Well, yeah,
I was
look,
thinking of the
what-
one where you just make turns and it can't
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can tell at
yeah.
all. Where like
but yeah, like
Also-
there's that one you just played it like the whole time. Like you're playing, you're like, oh man, I can't wait for another song to start. It's just like, you're like, all right, this is what
It's
I'm
just
playing.
like the movie. That song plays in the convenience store where they're out getting confronted
Exactly.
by the biker gang. It's awesome.
one
Also-
of Oh, sorry. Who was
No,
just
good,
like-
good.
No, I was just before we leave the video game real fast though. But you know how like the video game, he's like blue and purple,
Yeah.
like he's like your color. So one of the best things I saw at a horror convention was someone did that Jason. And like when you're in
That's
a
cool.
sea
Nice.
of Jasons
Nice.
to see like the and yeah, like to see that Jason, it was so funny. He was like in blue and purple and like
That's awesome.
and he was like and it was really cool. I think I have a picture of him somewhere. My cousin
was-
with him eating.
I was just gonna say nobody's talking about what a marksman that dude is with a spear gun. Like
It's easy when it's on a line.
he's just one hands that thing too. Like he didn't even like take aim. He's just like
right into the
goes
eyeball.
right in the
That's
eye.
a small. That's a small
yeah,
like
yeah.
goal to hit.
What was that? What was with that weird guy in the beginning too in the eye? Like was that like that guy laying in the road? Like when
oh,
they
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
like,
the Doomsayer. Yeah.
was he supposed? Yeah, he was like supposed to foretell something, but
Yeah.
it didn't make any. That thing looked like a biscuit, or not a biscuit, a dumpling. You get it like a giant.
It looked like
that
those
eye looked
sausage that Franklin was eating
Yeah,
in Texas
yeah,
Chainsaw.
yeah,
Massacre.
I did not know what it was until they like screamed, like till they yelled about it. I
It's
had
an
no clue what he was
I'm
showing.
like, yo, was that a steamed pork dumpling? That thing was good.
But yeah, I immediately thought of the soothsayer in Cabin in the Woods when that
Oh
dude
yeah,
shows up.
yes, yeah.
Because he
I
was
thought-
using all the weird language too. the whole time.
Mordecai,
Yeah.
Mordecai's.
Well, I'm
speaker.
pretty sure the original guy, I think he died before the filming of this.
The
So that's when
doomed
they-
guy.
They found this Aldi's brand Doomsayer, and who's just laying in the middle of the road, not even creepily riding his bicycle. Oh no, that guy died too. So actually, he didn't matter. But no, they were going to bring him back. I remember from documentary they were going to bring him back,
All
but he
died.
died in real life.
They should bring that guy back for everyone. And why don't we get another Friday the 13th every year? Like, just keep
because
doing
the
it.
right,
They-
because
well,
the
they-
rights are in. There's
Well,
rights about
No,
it.
they just
That's why you're not getting one.
they just settled that. They,
I thought
they
it was
just-
a rumor. I thought it was a rumor.
No,
that
they
settled
actually
it.
settled
Okay.
it, and they said they're in pre-production for the next one.
All right. Well,
I mean,
makes
they should
sense.
just make one of these every year. Just
John's wishes are granted.
But did you guys like?
I
the,
mean, he
who
found
here
his
liked
new-
the remake Because
He
I
found
did.
his best
Yeah,
friend.
I thought you did, Eli. I thought we
Friday
agreed
the
on that one.
13th.
I don't
kinda
think I
liked
watched
it.
the remake.
I thought it was
I
fun.
liked the
Like
remake.
for what it was, it's just fun. It's just
Mhm.
silly.
I don't understand why everybody's so like hung up on like why Jason can't grow weed. Why can't he?
I also don't know why we think
He's
he's
gotta have a skill
necessarily
set.
growing it, and not just living in the middle of a weed. Like that's what I always assume. Like I didn't sit here and think he's
Yeah,
fucking putting on
because-
his little hat and his overalls and like farming
hey,
and like
It ain't
all
his
this,
weed,
like-
yeah.
A lot of people accidentally live near giant weed fields.
Okay, we're talking about Jason. I don't even think he knows what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. A guy that has dug these weird prisoner of war tunnels all under a lake or all under a campground doesn't know about the weed above.
Whatever. I never
No.
questioned that one bit because I couldn't give two shits about the weed.
You know what? He has to know about marijuana. With a face like that, he gotta have glaucoma, right? Like,
Wait.
you know what I mean?
Thank you for going that way because I was about to say, like, is how many of them do we see his stupid face, or is this the only one? And then they stop, right? Do
No,
they
you
stop,
You
see-
or
see it in 4, I know.
I think you see
Four-
it in every single
you
one.
see it if we do in every single
Four-
one.
I think so.
You see it in you see part of it in 6,
5. You see it in 6. You see it in
All right,
7.
so it's all all of
7,
them
8
because
when
I
they melt
hate it.
his
I think it's
face
so
with
stupid.
poop.
And not necessarily that his face. I mean, his face is stupid, but not even that. But like seeing it as if it's supposed to like I'd rather him just keep the mask on at all times and no stupid
best-
reveal of his pumpkin face.
The best face reveal 7 though, where she blows off his mask.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So-
awesome.
What was your all's favorite kill in this one? Because there's some doozies in this one.
I was like thinking. I knew that was gonna be a question, but I think I'm on the spear through the eye because it's just so stupid.
And it's iconic.
And it's in
it's
3D.
the one that
and
they-
it's in 3D.
I saw what you did there, you
Like,
son of a
I mean,
bitch.
a lot of
I
them are
just
in
saw what
3D.
you did there, Dave.
What-
It was
what did you do?
iconic, you son of a bitch. I saw
I'm a
what you
dad.
did there.
It's what I do.
Embarrassing.
I can't wait till we get the fact.
Did I
Yeah,
miss where
this
Shelly
episode.
got killed? I didn't see.
Yes.
Did I
He
miss-
just shows up.
I know. Yeah, he just shows up.
Yeah, he just
dead,
shows
right?
up
Like,
with
okay.
his slit.
Okay.
His
The
Yeah.
one you waiting for the death.
Yeah,
the
you're
whole
like,
time.
man, I hope this guy dies
Well,
soon. I kept
The
saying.
guy
take it
was
from
so
you.
forgettable. They probably forgot about him while they're filming. They're like, "Oh shit, we didn't do it. Let's just show him. Just have him appear with a cut neck." I don't know.
There was a lot of aggressive men in this because, like, he's like trying to hook up with that girl, and then she's like, no or whatever, and he's like, bitch.
That's my favorite line because it's out of nowhere.
I'm
He's this awkward little nerd, and then all of a sudden,
chubby,
yeah.
curly haired juggling kid. Like, he's like, should we? And she's like, no, I'm gonna go get some whatever. And he's like, bitch.
Well, he does that. He doesn't call them bitches, but like he keeps pretending to be dead and scaring people, and they're like, "Don't do that." He's like, "Nobody likes me.
This is
It's
my
like,
way.
because you're a douche. Like you keep making people think you're dead and scared them. Like, why? Who likes that?
Who has a Velcro wallet? I mean,
Oh well, it's true.
Shelly.
The dad from Seinfeld. And he throws it in the garbage.
Oh yeah.
that may have came back, but I know at that time that wasn't cool to have a Velcro wallet.
Super cool.
I
know
don't think
that's-
it came back.
Well, no, I mean I've seen like I think there was a resurgence maybe in the early 2000s. or
Was
so,
there?
you know.
That
Yeah,
wasn't
well,
a 10-year-old holding it.
in some circles. There
This
was a-
goes with the
yeah,
Velcro shoes we talked
well,
about. right?
yeah.
I'm thinking with
Yeah.
with a specific niche of gamer culture.
Hey
I
man,
think
the
there was
older
some-
the older I get, the more convenient things are, man. I tell you what, like Velcro shoes, I ain't got to tie them. All right, you know what? I ain't even got to have laces anymore. I wear Hey Dudes everywhere. Like, I don't even,
Oh my god.
my boss looks at me funny when I show up at the office and Hey Dudes. He's like, I'm like, no, they're under my desk. You can't see them.
My
Oh,
favorite,
God.
my favorite thing with Shelly is at the convenience store when the backers back him into a corner, and then they're leaving, and then he has this moment, it's so poorly written, where he goes, "No, enough is enough." Like, no, Shelly, you
and
are
then
not
he
the
doesn't
person
even-
who ever's going
doesn't
to.
even really do anything. He just like kind of grazes the guy's tire. And like, what was that dude Johnny Cage like standing there with a chain to the wheel? What was he doing? Like,
3D, man.
I guess like it was like just run him over. Like
The best.
the chain isn't going to stop your car. Like
You know what I love about that scene? There was no shits given that wasn't their car.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, that's true.
Oh,
They
shit's
were like,
given.
I
And
don't
then
care, like-
that Shelly, which is another reason why he's a prick. Then they get back, and that guy's like, "What'd you do to my car?" He's like, "You can fix that, no problem."
Stuff happened.
It doesn't make
The
any sense.
whole-
Like, wouldn't he
whole
be like, these
windshield or whatever?
bikers attacked me, and then I got him. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, he's just like, nothing. I got curly hair. Look at me. I'm gonna go juggle some balls or whatever.
Apples, guy.
Apples, sorry.
No one else said any kills.
Oh yeah, probably that guy walking on his hands because he was stupid.
I like that one too.
And
Though, just 'cause
Anybody
it's so
that
stupid.
walks on their hands deserves to get
Crotch.
That's
nut
a
slapped with a machete.
handstandy.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just funny because Friday the 13th is like obviously one of their things is like original kills, and like it's
Mhm.
just funny seeing them and even knowing now like things that have been done now, but it's just like see like they're like, oh, someone who could do a handstand, let's kill him while he's walking on his hands.
Yeah,
You
my
know what?
favorite is still Rapey Rick getting his head crushed.
Oh, that's my favorite. And
See,
it's the eyeballs
Literally,
are
had,
3D.
it's
Yeah.
on
No.
a spring, and you can see the whole thing jumping at you. It's fantastic.
I like that scene until that you can see the spring poke the eye out, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck you.
That's why I love it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's why
hate it.
it's yeah.
I was never a fan of 3D, but like I would be like fine if like it made sense. I hate this movie. Like, it's
Yeah,
almost
this
like
is
they
not
weren't
the
even trying.
franchise for
No.
But
that.
it doesn't, but 3D like doesn't make sense. Like
Right.
here's that. Well, we had the conversation about Marvel, and remember you said no more, and they're all in 3D because you're
They
talking
don't
about like,
advertise
basic.
that.
No, because it's basic 3D. It's like it's not gimmicky, but the whole
Yeah.
point of old 3D is to be fucking gimmicky.
Well,
Like that's the
I
point.
get
Like,
get that, but
it
my
doesn't
problem
make sense.
my
because
problem with this one, right? Like they just had to move the camera over like a
They
centimeter.
literally need to go whoa.
centimeter. And like then I wouldn't have saw that spring. But at least that one
Yeah, but they crushed a head. They don't have 20 heads to align the camera.
but like that angle.
They got one time
but
to shoot
even-
that.
Listen
even
here, City Slicker. We
that
only
one-
got so
oh,
much money to
ooh.
make this movie.
even
okay?
that like I can forgive that one. I forgive a couple of the ones like when they're killing. Even that not really 3D one where he's going at the end, but like that yo-yo scene, the popcorn scene,
I
that
love the
stupid
yo-yo
hillbilly
scene.
store owner with his stick for the
That
laundry
snake.
line.
the snake.
that head that fell down
snake.
from the
The
was that
horse
pig
head?
head or so horse head? Yeah.
Yeah, the horse had the snake.
snake.
Oh, is that
Even
what
the
that-
mouse, the
that's-
rat or the mouse comes out in
Yeah.
3D too. Like,
That snake, I didn't even think about that was 3D. I was like, why did that snake just stop? I wrote that, I put that on my notes. I was like, you said dumb snake. It was like, and it just stopped. I'm like, I've never seen a snake stop like that. Like, that seems peculiar.
It's got to
Now
stay
it
in
makes-
focus.
Now it makes sense. Like it's a 3D snake. Okay.
Oh, they should have done snakes on a plane in 3D.
oh my god,
They shouldn't do anything in
imagine.
3D.
Oh, but-
Does anybody care about 3D anymore? Honestly, like I mean,
No, I
do
don't
you even
think
buy
so.
3D television?
We've already reviewed another movie in 3D for
Yeah.
Camp Wicked Wild.
Shark Night.
Yeah.
Shark Night.
Yeah.
And I was going to
Right.
ask this, but then I realized that Jamie and I are probably the only two that actually have an answer because it seems like we're the only two that can embrace 3D as this
Oh, I
niche,
love it.
campy
Yeah.
feature that some have. And this was in the era for like 2 years where everybody threw a 3D movie out there within their horror franchise. So there's one for Jaws, Amityville, Parasite was another one. I was just curious what your all's favorite is if you have one, and it's totally okay if you don't. But I know that Jamie and I like those kind of movies because Piranha 3D and those kind of things.
I still, that's biggest movie regret, not seeing that in 3D in the theaters.
But of the three big ones, I think Amityville 3D is the one I enjoy the most. But as far as the fun
I don't know
factor,
if I've
this is
seen
the
that
best
in
one.
3D.
I've never seen Amityville 3D.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Amityville 3D.
not good. It's not
Okay,
good.
well,
But the
it's-
3D's goofy and fun.
Thank you. I'm gonna trust Dave on this one.
Listen,
because,
the
like,
movie itself is terrible because you'll know you found the right movie because on the cover it's a turkey popping out of the house with a weird
Plushy-
hand.
Plus,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a plushy hand turkey, and it's a turkey with a frown. It's like
yeah. I'm upset because I'm a turkey.
Why a turkey? I'm confused.
you'll just watch it, and then you'll be disappointed in your life.
They
just
just-
It's like
the
a
rest of us.
demon hand.
Where this one pokes at the camera a lot, in Amityville 3D, they just throw crap at the camera the whole time.
Okay.
I don't watch movies in 3Ds because I can't put the glasses over my glasses. I just look stupid when I do it. Like, so.
I think 3D serves like two purposes, and it's like to enhance the beauty of something. And my example for that is not even like these Marvel. I saw Coraline in 3D,
Oh, yeah.
and I love Henry Selick and stop motion and whatever. And like it was beautiful in 3D because it's not even, and I'm sure it actually probably had some animated gimmicky things because it's animated, but it was beautiful in 3D. The Marvel shit couldn't give two shits about, like, it doesn't make any difference to me. It actually just makes it harder to watch when it comes to action and stuff like that. But then if you give me like these movies, and I've said it numerous times on the show, like, because if we're going into modern, that I saw like My Bloody Valentine in 3D, and I thought it was fucking fantastic just because it's so stupid
It's
and silly
added
like
fun,
this.
yeah.
Like it's and like you put a pickaxe towards my screen. Like that's the point of that 3D. It's why theme parks still sometimes have 3D. Like I'm thinking right now, I literally just came back from Orlando, and not this time, but previously, like there's a Muppet 3D show still in Hollywood Studios, Disney, because it's funny and it's a gimmick, and people, children and adults alike, find it hilarious. And
Exactly.
if you don't think they're going to throw food or popcorn at you, or someone's not going to fly in your face, and I'm literally thinking of the Muppet Vision 3D right now, but like,
You know, maybe I just don't have the heart for this gimmick, because I know when the remake came out that year during Kennywood Music Park Ride, their Fright Nights, they showed the remake and they're like, it's in 4D. And so when I asked the guy, I was like, what does that mean? He's like, oh, it's like watching it in a haunted house. And I was like, oh,
What
like
does
there's
that
probably
mean?
stuff around? He's like, yeah. He's like, trust me, it's crazy. I was like, okay. So I go into what looks like a normal theater inside, except for the chairs are kind of thicker and weirder. And the whole time I'm watching it, either water spraying out of the chair, like misting me, or just those air blasts. And then I can't hear the movie because all these chairs are randomly going off. And I was like, I hate this so much. I hate
I
it.
just did that for the newest screen.
I hate it.
It's rough.
Yeah,
It's
is it
funny
your
in the
favorite
beginning.
theater or a different theater that has the 4D gimmick?
Me, 40X.
Yeah.
It's the one that I saw the Terrifier premiere at. So it's like right,
Okay.
it's near us, but not our go-to theater.
It's the one I pointed out then.
Yes. So it's got like one 40X theater. So they choose different movies to play in there. And we decided to see Scream. That's why I saw it twice. Because like the second time was a 40X. And let me tell you, like, it's hilarious during like the previews and when it starts. But on like the 12th time that you've been like stabbed in the back, like a knife or like that, like it just gets old real. And I turned off, Eli. There's actually a button for the water because I was like, fuck no, am I sitting here and having them spray water in my face for blood? Like
I had no
in the middle of
button.
COVID.
Yeah, we had a button. Because
Oh,
it's,
there
like,
was
the
no
way
button on
they're
this, but
doing
like
it.
you're sitting there, and like what the other thing that sucks too is like I end up moving seats because the one that would come up from the floor like must have been partially clogged because it kept just like limp streaming into my crotch, and I walked out of there looking like I pissed myself.
I mean, the thing is, theme parks are still doing like 4DX's things. Like there's a plenty, like I'm trying to think of the Bugs Life show is in 4DX. It's like it especially works with children because like the moment you spray or air or whatever, and most rides still have it too. Like you'll go on Transformers ride and you'll be sprayed with something. Harry Potter ride, I was just sprayed with something. Like it just. But I don't know, like it works for some of these fun movies. Like I'm not watching a serious movie. I'm like, what?
Genie. You're like, I was sprayed with something on the Harry Potter ride. Oh no.
What I meant is I wasn't remembering what part it was.
Well, it pissed me off because I had popcorn and water kept getting my like I couldn't finish my popcorn.
Maybe my horse is a little too tall, but like I feel like the technology just isn't there to do it effectively, then don't do it at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just like virtual reality. Like unless you have a full 3D treadmill and everything, just sitting in your chair, I can look at a screen and do something on virtual reality. You know what I mean? Like it's I don't know.
Then we won't get the yo-yo scene, Jeff.
I guess you got me there.
Just
I
think
thought
of
he was
what
gonna
we
hit her right in the
lose.
face. Like I would appreciated that a lot more if he just hit her in the face with the yo-yo. Like
You mean the mother of his child that he's throwing this
he
yo-yo?
doesn't even care about. He's like,
He
have
doesn't
another
care
beer. Smoke some cigarettes. I guess it was the 80s though. That was this will give your kids superpowers. Smoking cigarettes.
Only
And it
one
makes you
six
look
pack
cool.
a day.
Yeah, like,
Only 2 packs of cigarettes a day, and you're fine.
God. Anyway, it seems like Dave and I are on the 3D bandwagon. I think John is.
Yeah, I like this fun 3D.
Yeah, fun 3D, not
yeah,
like it enhances anything.
No.
Yeah,
No,
it's
like
marshmallows in your hot chocolate. The hot chocolate's great. Marshmallows are also great. Some of
Yeah.
us like marshmallows in our hot chocolate.
Yeah, but 3D is like, oh, I found these marshmallows under my cabinet from like 10 years ago.
No,
I'm sure
no,
they're
it's
still
not.
good.
I kind of want to watch Amityville 3D now. I've never seen that movie
Yeah, neither
before.
have I.
And
Just
I
keep your
I have a friend
expectations
with-
low.
Oh, I have a friend with a 3D projector. I can bring over my 3D Friday the 13th. We can do a little double feature of 3D.
There you go.
Hey, I'll just say, John, when you watch it, then you
Mhm.
guys can join the debate about whether or not Amityville 3D qualifies as a movie.
It probably doesn't, but it's
I feel
probably
like
more of an experience.
the 3D technology from this was like that hot chocolate that's pre-marshmallow. They taste like they're like little pieces of gravel in your hot chocolate, like
Before it's dehydrated or hydrated.
like, you know what I mean? That's I feel what this 3D is.
I don't know. I'm on this bandwagon, and I think I'm on it. I don't want to say even more, but literally, like watching it now, I think it just adds to the hilarity.
It's
of the movie, 'cause
nostalgic,
It's not
yeah.
a good move. It's like
No,
objectively not a good movie. It's good to I'm just saying, but it's like, what else do you want? Like as soon as the credits started, I was cracking up because I just like I forgot like
It's
how
comfort
in your
food.
face it is.
Yeah.
That head looked bad too. That lady's head. Yeah, I was like, is that like a dried out pumpkin or something like that?
What about at the end with the worms sticking
Yeah,
out? Like,
yeah.
whatever
Oh, yeah,
sticking
yeah.
out?
Coming in the lake with me, honey.
I knew
There she
it
is.
was coming. I knew it.
There she is.
I just was setting him up for it too. I was just like,
But like, not today, Sheila.
Why'd you get in that canoe? I like canoes.
Go back to Golden Corral.
That's my boy. That's my special boy over there.
oh, Eli, I drove past the Orlando Golden Corral when I was
Orlando,
there. but
whoa.
The Uber was going
whoa.
too fast. I couldn't take a picture.
I have not been to Orlando or
I couldn't
Golden
take a
Corral. How was
picture.
it? Did you stop and eat?
No, I drove on the highway.
You could have done it.
Stop the
investigative
taxi.
reporting.
I mean, there was a moment where I considered like if I had any conversation with the Uber driver, I was making him stop.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
I would have been like,
how do you bring that up with your Uber driver? Like,
Take me to
can you
Golden
stop at
Corral.
Golden Corral. He's like, bad stuff happens over there. We don't take
I'm like,
you
I'm
right
sorry,
back.
I'm
my
not
friend
paying you for
sitting
your
next to me,
opinion.
She probably
Yeah,
like,
like-
what the fuck? What are you doing?
I'm like, we're going to the greatest place on earth.
We just-
All
we
you
just
can eat.
left Disney
The
or whatever.
center of decadence in the
Yeah.
universe.
Like you
The
planned your
Golden
whole trip
Corral.
and you were really just
People
going to the Golden
don't-
Corral, not
Yeah.
Disney. Like,
Yeah, leave
Choose
Disney
Golden
World, go to
Corral.
Golden Corral.
You know what, Jeff? I think you and I should go on a Golden Corral road trip.
a tour.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
we'll just go on a tour of Golden
yeah.
Corrals.
Well, I bet the Discovery Channel would pick up the show.
I was going to say, wait until they sponsor you and then
Well,
get paid to do it.
Maybe TLC. I don't know about Discovery. I think
I
they're a
don't
little bit classy for
Classy for
We
Golden
got to be on
Corral.
the same channel with
Whoa,
Honey Boo Boo.
whoa.
I think so. If we're
What's,
going to be getting Golden
what
Corral.
channel's American Pickers on? Is that TLC?
No, that's History Channel. They're
History
definitely ain't
Channel?
taking us.
I mean, Golden Corral has a fairly rich and storied history, I think, right?
It does. It does,
All right,
especially
we're
the
not
nice
getting
ones.
into it. We're not getting into the Golden Corral history.
I'm not mad,
Stop.
Jamie.
In
I'm just disappointed.
1897, William Corral came over.
That's Eli's
William
special
Goldie
episode.
Corral.
When Eli wants to do a
Yeah.
special episode, he can do
Yeah.
the history of Golden
This
Corral.
week on the Campfire Tales, we'll be taking a deep dive into the history of the Golden Corral.
And he's talking the entire time with his mouth full because he's in Golden
Yeah,
Corral.
right.
Oh my god! Do you think Golden Corral
No.
would let us film an episode of Campfire
Sure.
Tales in it?
Why not?
Why
I don't
not?
think they care.
Yeah.
I don't think the 80-year-old working the
Did you
front.
pay your $3.99 for the buffet? We don't care. Like, you know?
I'm just disappointed they haven't done a Friday the 13th in a Golden Corral.
Oh,
You know what I mean? You imagine the kills. You know, Jason could like drown somebody in the gross hot chocolate fountain,
Gravy.
the gravy pan.
See, this is the downside to having Jeff and Eli both on.
There ain't no downside. It's all positive.
We've gone into Campfire Tales world. So I do have a couple of fun pieces of trivia
You son of a
that I
bitch.
think you're so aggressive.
Because I know what's
Yeah.
going to happen. Why don't
Do
you just
you?
lay that one on
Do
me
you?
Do
first?
you?
Yeah,
what
just
is
put-
going to happen?
just state that one first.
Just
Let's-
tell everybody at home what's going to happen.
Oh,
so you
but
can
there's
just-
going to be antlers.
Call your
I'll be
shot.
tied to this son of a bitch
Oh.
right now.
I'm going to call
maybe
you.
if you stopped getting so mad, it
Yeah.
wouldn't be a big
I
deal.
would never not get mad.
How about
I
that?
mean,
That's an
stop
idea.
taking the bait,
just
man.
just throwing it out there.
This
Golden
movie
Corral
came out in
runs in my
82.
blood.
What are the
I
chances
know
that
that's what I
there's
was gonna
an
say.
Atlas
It's
connection?
82.
Probably high.
This,
Probably
this,
high.
this gravy runs deep.
Yeah, this gravy runs deep. Probably pretty high.
A couple that I thought were really interesting. This is the first time, and I knew it was a tradition within the Friday the 13th franchise that they would hide that it was a Friday the 13th movie by naming each of the movie scripts after a Bowie song. This was the first one they did that. This was Crystal Japan, but this is the first time they did that as sort of their secret code word. Now, obviously, that only lasted for a couple of movies till people cracked the code of if it has a friggin' Bowie name, it's probably a Friday the 13th movie. But this is the first time they did that.
That's pretty cool.
Or if they read the script and they're like, "This dummy kills people in a mask," it's like, well, this must be a Friday the 13th movie.
Sounds a little fishy.
Yeah, it seems suspicious. Who are these people that couldn't figure it out by reading the script? Like this lady's in a hammock and she didn't see the guy underneath. Must be a Friday the 13th movie. Like, 3D? Definitely. Sign me up.
Nailed it. So Larry Zerner, who is the guy who plays Shelley, he was actually cast because he was working the streets, handing out flyers to a horror movie convention that he was part of. That's how he got this movie, because of his look. And I think the producer came to him and said, "How would you like to be in a horror movie?" And
Well, that's kind of cute.
Yeah.
I bet you regretted that real quick.
I wish I could like just hand out things for a horror convention. They'd be like, "Oh, come join.
Come on and enjoy the movie."
Can you imagine if Jamie had gotten scooped into Terrifier?
It
Yeah.
was
Terrifier
filmed
3.
in Staten Island.
Exactly.
Like, how much of a did I fuck that up
Well,
somehow?
Jamie, don't be dismissive. Dave, you weren't on the Goatman Bridge episode.
I was not.
A movie is being made,
And
and Jamie is cast in 11
Oh, I thought you were telling
parts.
me this. I was like, I was on the Goat Man.
Yeah, Jamie is going to be in our movie, and she's cast as 11 different
There's
people.
she has a few major roles, we'll call them.
Wow.
Fantastic. Good luck with that, Jamie. I'm sure financing has already been locked, right?
Well, we're
we
still working on securing funding.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Well, we're
It involves
Halloween
candy
candy
and-
donations.
yeah.
there's a few offers on the table. We just don't want to make any
Yeah.
rash decisions. We're
Right.
reviewing all our
Sure.
options so far.
So
so-
you got a
Very
solid
prude.
script.
Very prudent.
Solid
Oh,
script.
no,
good
that's not
effects.
there.
No, we don't even have a script.
We're this is
oh.
We're
gonna do
going the
something
Friday the
different.
13th
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
We're revolutionizing the movie industry with this upcoming film. So
I'm not going to say this time next year you're going to see Jeff and I on here, and every time we record, we're holding Oscars.
yeah,
Good
right,
chance,
right.
though.
Like, I'm just going to change my name to Oscar. So.
You should. I'm going to get a chain and wear it around my neck.
Oh my God.
One of my favorite little pieces of trivia from this one is that the 3D effects supervisor, Martin Sadoff, is the reason that Jason has a hockey mask. That's
Love it.
actually his personal goalie mask, because he was a hockey player and he always had his gear bag with him, and they were just trying out different looks for Jason. And he threw the guy his goalie mask and everybody loved it immediately. So that is a Red Wings Detroit, John.
Hey,
Detroit
I was
Red
also a
Wings
goalie, so
There you go.
Why didn't they? This is, I'm sure, been explained to me numerous times. Why didn't they just stick with the sack? Like, why not? Does anybody know?
I think if I remember from the documentary, they said that
That's why I'm
they
sure
wanted
like,
a different take on him. Like they didn't want to just like go back to that hill.
They wanted a look they could license, I think. Is
Yeah.
What they said.
Oh, okay.
It's
Why
hard to
wasn't it
license a sack.
Why wasn't it a scuba mask? Why was that dude wearing a hockey mask in the lake? Doesn't make any sense. Like,
Because he's
Now
Shelley.
that you said that, I'm sitting here like, holy shit.
why wasn't
You're
it? Should have
right.
been like a scuba mask.
Well,
or
he doesn't
something. Like,
go
it
in the
didn't-
lake.
No, the
So-
guy comes out of the lake with the spear gun with the mask on, and then she thinks it's him when he comes out of the cabin. She's like, "Oh, Shelley, what are you doing?"
You're right.
Yeah,
Also,
whatever. Like,
Why was he swimming in a
because he
lake in a
killed
wetsuit?
Shelly and got the goalie mask. That's
But
right.
why? I'm
Yeah.
saying, why was Shelley in the lake with a goalie?
goal-
mask?
yeah.
He was
Like,
just
he's
there to
an
scare
idiot.
her.
He was
Yeah,
literally
She's a
decked
moron.
out in
Yeah.
all. He was decked out in all aqua gear.
Okay, but can you
but a hockey
imagine?
mask, like.
Can you imagine 2022 if we didn't have the hockey mask? Like, I can't even.
Yeah.
Can you
I
imagine
think-
a world where we
You know
don't
what?
have Jason?
I think this
as Jason?
franchise would have been just as good with a scuba mask. Like he can come walking after with like flippers, walking after people.
A
Like
snorkel hanging.
yeah, like
The
that'd have been
hockey
fun.
mask is so simplistic and like
I-
so. Oh, that's the shirt I should have wore.
There's nothing complicated about a scuba mask.
Oh, no, not at all.
I'm telling you, they missed the
I
boat.
like it's a shirt of
This
the
goat
huge.
movie's
It's
gonna
just a
suck.
mask, but it's in the Louis Vuitton print. It's fucking awesome. I'm also a Louis Vuitton fan. So.
We don't have a
Jason
Louis,
should've-
not a Louis
Jason should've wear-
Vuitton down
Could
here.
have had a Louis Vuitton.
Louis Vuitton, he didn't do much down here in Tennessee.
I think that's the name of a town I heard of where there's a good golden crown.
Oh my god.
Stop it.
You tease.
So, any other thoughts on Friday the 13th, Part 3?
No, I think we got the most out of this movie you possibly can. And again, that's someone who like enjoys it. I'm just saying, there's
And
It was-
Eli, to your point earlier,
Yeah, here
my
it comes.
My trick or treat to you this season at the end of Camp Wicked Wild is I did not even go look to see if there was a connection between this and Antlers. I assume there isn't, but somebody write in if you find one. That's my gift to Eli.
No one wants to hear it.
You want to have the shakes this week.
For next year's Halloween episode, Dave, I expect to have a long con.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it comes back around, and then you deliver that one. It's like a year old in waiting.
Now, at the end of Camp Wicked Wild next year, we're going to revisit Antlers. We're like actually.
Oh,
I'm busy. I'm busy that day.
I heard they were making a sequel.
I'm not gonna watch that.
Ooh.
Or we might say we're going to watch Antlers.
It's actually a prequel. It's called Antler.
Oh, nice. We just say we're going to watch it, so you bow out.
Yeah,
Eli,
you can.
And we
you
actually
can
watch like Friday the 13th Part 4.
That's fine. I can just watch it myself. But I'm telling you, if I get on an episode, you're like, we're gonna talk about Antlers again. It's gonna be the first time you just see me shut off my camera and just walk away.
That's all it takes.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
What happened to Tracie?
I know. I'm not allowed to make jokes. Sometimes they're just so
Whoa! We have secret alliances on here.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know I was coming on that kind of show.
Hey, well,
I
how
didn't
can
know
we? You
that,
played
like-
the 6-year-long game to get back with your love, John.
Yeah, the politics are very complicated on the main show, Jeff. It's-
I guess. Jeez, criminy. Like, also, Jason was very nice for washing those people's clothes in the bathtub. So
yeah, it's
I
very,
thought that was nice of him.
I thought that was random too.
Yeah.
Like, why
The
is
wet
Like, why is he
bandits.
washing these clothes in the bathtub?
you got to pre-soak?
Well, yeah, I guess.
for blood you pre-soak.
He's like, "Where's this blood coming from?" I'm laying in my hammock and it's dripping. Where's this? She's like, "Where's it coming from?" Like, he looks up and he's like, "Got you."
Take a book to the head.
Yeah,
Give me your robe so I can get the blood out of it.
Yeah, it's gotta set in. I gotta soak it in soda water.
Do you think he
Whatever.
was just killing them and taking their clothes because he's like,
Right,
well, if
he
I
just
clear out
needs-
the house, I can move in?
he's just- right, it's probably
clothes.
like he's like, hey, he's like one of those people that squat in people's houses when they
You
go
know
on
what?
vacation or whatever.
He didn't plan it very well when he threw her dead boyfriend through the window, because then it's like, now you gotta replace.
Well,
windows.
he's- he wanted
broke
to
his
rem-
own window.
He wanted to remodel anyway.
oh,
so-
okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, and those were single pane windows. They were
Yeah,
very poor
yeah.
insulation.
Yeah,
he,
you know,
he knew he was
right.
going to have to replace those anyway.
Jason, our power bill's gonna go through the roof. We better get some new windows.
So on that, we are closing out our Camp Wicked Wild season. And we're going to do that with rating this classic movie, Friday the 13th, Part 3. And I'm going to let John lead us off. What do you think of this movie? Where does it land?
I love this movie, and I'm taking it on the 3D trail, and that's where it'll be.
It's in the Trail family. All right, Jamie, what about you?
Oh my God, with this one, it's hard. I mean, because you can't take it by itself. You gotta just it's just one of all of them. They're all one long movie that just keeps going. Let's just blue.
Fair.
Blue Blaze. Right? I think
Yeah.
that's
Jeff, what about you?
It falls somewhere between blue and green for me, I think.
Uh-huh.
Because it's fine, and definitely if you were if you had glaucoma and you watched this, it probably be a little bit better. So I think that's where I'm going to drop it off at.
That's a good point. Maybe that's what was missing in your 3D experience. Maybe you don't
Right,
need the
yeah,
yeah. You
I
just
think
need
it'd have been way better. But like, well, that snake's getting me, man.
I'm going to have to try that now.
Yeah,
Like, give yourself glaucoma.
I'm doing
Chemical
it after,
3D. Yeah.
I'm doing it after we get off of here.
Dave's using the microwave and he puts his eyes right up against the glass there. He's like, gotta give myself glaucoma to watch.
Yeah, you'll-
13 Part 3.
You'll see me messaging everybody like, "Did we do that podcast yet about that movie? I'm ready. Sign me up."
And meanwhile, you're texting like a Chick-fil-A down the road.
Yeah.
You can't even read the number.
Who is this? Eli, what do you think?
Like, sir, we don't know anything about Friday the 13th. Do you want some chicken minis or not? Like,
Yes, I do.
Oh,
and that movie was great.
you're like staring at the back of your house.
Yeah.
Oh man. You know what's weird? This is, like I said, my top 3 least favorite Friday films, but it's on the road to series. I do enjoy the series. They had to hit this bump to get to where they got. So I'd say this
Rude.
this is like a tree fell over the blue trail, and I'm just climbing over it to get to where I want to go. Or I
that's
stepped in a
fair.
pile of poop, and I'm trying to clean my shoe real quick before I go. Keep going.
Well, I was about to come in all blue blaze on this, and then Jeff threw me a curveball there. I think I agree. I think this may be a green blaze kind of experience. I think we can get ourselves to a position in a an internal state that we can make this 3D work without glasses. We can make this pop off. So I agree. I think I'm gonna have to go green blaze on this one. So
What if I could also get you the glasses?
ooh,
And then
I may poop my
Wow,
pants then.
Wow.
yeah, I say
Yeah.
Jeff's
I
in a whole
definitely
nother
poop my
world.
pants.
Yeah.
That's- I'm pooping my pants just thinking about it. To be honest, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jeff's got to clean up on aisle 3
Yeah,
now.
I need new pants.
You just wear a diaper, so you know the day the package is getting delivered.
Just sitting out there waiting for the Amazon guy. In
No pants, get a diaper. They drive by because they don't want to stop at the guy's
like,
house
no.
and sitting out in his yard in a diaper.
They're like, I don't care what the address says on this. I ain't stopping there. That's for sure.
Jeff's just
Yeah,
waving
like-
at him.
Like emails that your package has been delayed.
Yeah,
as soon as
yeah,
it goes
yeah. I'm
by.
like,
It's like,
where's it at?
You're
Chasing-
running down the road,
Chasing the Amazon guy down the road.
your diaper's flapping behind you. Oh my
oh
god.
my god.
Well, happy Siwan to everyone. Happy Halloween on that note. We do want to end our Camp Wicked Wild with our last giveaway of the season. Got a big one this time. We got a chance to win a $100 gift code to the Wicked Wild store. We're going to give away 2 of these for the finale. All you've got to do this week is send us an email at podcast, podcast, at thewickedwild.com with your ideas on what we should do next year for our October theme. So give us some ideas on what you'd like us to do as a crew for Camp Wicked Wild 2023.
I'll throw in an extra $50 if you say get rid of Eli.
Oh,
Can't
I'll
get rid of
throw-
the Mole King.
I'll throw an extra $50 for the person who recommends us doing antlers during.
oh.
And I'll throw in a box filled with my own personal brand of shit to your house if you do that.
He's so aggressive
And I'll eat. It's a bad Golden Corral before
before you sent it.
Trust me, people. He won't have the energy to do something like that. Go ahead and get your extra 50 from Dave.
You'll
You
have
don't know me very well.
he'll be in a calorie coma for at least
Listen,
a week after he
If
does
I
that.
was in a band, they'd call me Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers because I bring to pete.
Wait, what? Oh, pet. Oh, got it. That was okay.
Oh man.
See
So-
what I did there?
So Eli, what are we
Anyway.
following up this classic with this week?
Well-
on Campfire Tales.
You know, I set a personal. I'd say Jeff and I set a personal challenge for ourselves this month. We wanted to see how many tales we could do that centered around a bridge, and so I found one that actually surprisingly is very similar to the story of Friday the 13th. Believe it or not, but we'll be talking about the tale of the Bunny Man Bridge.
Buddy, B-U-D,
No.
or Bunny?
Bunny,
Like the beginning of this movie.
Bunny, Bunny, Bunny
The
Man.
thing in the beginning of this movie.
Yeah.
That bunny was absolutely adorable though.
He's so fucking cute. He's like
Well,
eating the produce. I wouldn't even give a shit. Let him eat. Like, let him eat everything.
Spoiler alert: this Bunny Man is not adorable.
Oh well, yeah, he's a man. Once you add human to it,
You've
it's
ruined
like
it.
the
Gross.
goats. We've been through this with the goats. Like
So,
I guess we could, in addition to bridges, we could also be doing
Hybrids?
human hybrids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of,
No, we're
Seriously.
gonna save that for a special month.
oh well. Well,
you've already
which,
done like 3 of them this
which
month.
month
or
is
whatever.
the animal human hybrid month on the calendar year? I'm curious.
If we
Just
had
off
to do
the
the
top,
island
yeah.
of Dr. Moreau,
Everybody
what are
knows-
you gonna do, Eli?
No, everybody knows it's in May for Mother's Day.
Hey, okay, all right.
Everybody.
Everybody knows that.
do I dare to hope that Bunnyman Bridge is in Texas?
It is not. This
Dang it.
time we're going to take our first trip to Virginia.
Virginia?
Mm.
Virginia.
There's those Bunny Man movies though. We could have like somehow.
They are
Oh.
slightly based on it, but I didn't
Ooh.
figure we would ever talk about those movies because they're shit.
Like, They don't really fit our, but okay, yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, whatever. Anyway.
So in just a couple of days, you're going to get to hear that Campfire Tales. And then after that, we're going to go back into our regularly scheduled programming, where we'll have a Monday release of a review, and then a week, and then a Monday release of a Campfire Tale. And we've pre-recorded a couple of those that are bangers, and I've been waiting patiently for the close of our Campfire Wicked Wild so I could do something real important. And hopefully this will make up for a lot of the stuff that I've done to Eli. But I just want to be the first, Eli, to say Merry Christmas.
You son of a bitch.
Oh, God.
Nice.
One day you will
Got
taste the
him.
ash in your mouth and know the debt is paid. Just know anytime.
It's official. I mean,
You're
after
not gonna know
today,
when
it's
it's
Christmas
coming.
season, right?
No,
You're not gonna
shit.
know when it's coming, but I promise you, it is coming when you least expect it.
For some
Remember.
of us, Christmas time is a very, very anxious, stressful, traumatic
Yeah, it's
time.
like
So we
a-
don't like to acknowledge.
Oh, you son of a
Jeff's
bitch.
doing the
Jeff,
thing where
you
he changes his
fantastic
fucking
bastard.
background, and I can't.
Oh no. Oh no.
Should we
no,
sing him a
no.
Christmas
Is
carol,
that-
Jeff? What do you
that's-
think?
No, please don't.
Oh no.
I'm pretty sure
Don't
that's Sheila dressed up as
Don't
Santa
you
Claus.
dare. Take that off air. I can't even look at you right now. Take that off
Anyway,
air.
happy Halloween.
If you want to follow us on social media, you can find us on Twitter at Wicked Wild We Are. We are now on YouTube. You can subscribe and follow us on YouTube. We release each of these so you can see our goofy faces while we review our movies and
Yeah.
talk about Campfire Tales stuff at this
And the
point.
backgrounds.
And the backgrounds, which is half the reason to watch any of our stuff. Like right now, as a description, Jeff has found a photo of some dude with a 80s punk rock axe with a plastic goat mask on, playing metal on the side of a country road.
That's Pope Lake Bridge or whatever. Did I
is.
say it
Is
right?
that the Goat
There
Man
we
of
go.
Pope Lake?
Public Bridge. Yep.
Sure.
You got it.
There he
So
is.
you can.
This is actually Jaime in costume for the new movie.
Yeah, it's a little still from her.
One of my many roles.
Is that a
one of her
wardrobe test.
one of her 13 roles that she's going to be doing in the movie.
Be sure to subscribe and rate the show on whatever podcast platform you listen to us on. And again, thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed spending October with us. We've certainly had a blast. If you want to learn more about the podcast or any of the stuff we're doing on The Wicked Wild, you can visit our website at thewickedwild.com. We also have our new contributor, Jeff Ferry, throwing together a bunch of great content for Regional Cinema Road Trip, which is a blog content series that he's putting together about independent movies and the places they are shot and how they're tied together. It's sort of a literal road trip of indie movies of the 70s and 80s, which is fantastic. If you have any questions or thoughts or any other feedback you want to send me, you can do that at podcast, BODCAST, at thewickedwild.com. Guys, have I gotten everything? Are we ready to close up so we can go light the bonfire and celebrate the rest of our Halloween?
I got a quick question for you.
No,
For that
no.
giveaway. Say
No, you can't apply. No, you
No,
can't.
not me.
No
I-
brothers, no cousins.
no brothers, no
No-
cousins, no
no-
whatever. What if I know a guy,
Nope.
theoretically?
Already false.
This is the John story
Did
again.
you say
I know
false?
this
Already
guy.
false that he knows
No.
someone.
What if I'm just saying? What if I know a guy that knows a guy that Jeff also knows? That might be Jeff.
So, Jeff, can Jeff enter?
What I've learned
What?
tonight is that you barely know Jeff because apparently he's not even a real friend.
John apparently knows him better than you do.
I'm questioning all my life choices because, like, this long game, Jeff. Really, real quick before we end this long game, like, we knew each other. We played Magic and board games. You and I started a podcast together.
did
Like
that
all
just to
these
get in?
things you and I've done, and here it was all just a ploy so you could reunite with John.
Jeff's
Now
the
that-
one that
now that
introduced you to Mary, who was the tie to John.
Now that I've talked to John, you're dead to me.
Oh,
Man,
You have served your purpose.
you know what?
John's back in his life.
Play us out, Goat Man.
No, Jeff wasn't cool with that sleepover, but you know what?
I've matured quite a bit, John. You'll learn soon enough. You'll learn soon.
oh.
All right.
Yikes.
Okay.
And on that point, our recommendation to you, John,
is
is
to
that you
run.
get lost, because it may be the only way you survive yourself.
Or until you get found by Jeff.
Happy
Think about
Halloween,
it.
everybody.
If I've long game this long, how hard do you think it's going to be for me to find you?
His will is strong. He's got that going on.
Just
Happy
run,
Halloween.
everybody.
Bye-bye.